Okay, how's everybody doing? So you can see that I've started the yard office here and the accompanying 40-foot container trailer just in behind the yard office there, or actually it's the barge ramp approach office. But so this is going to be probably, well, I'm going to try to get it in two parts, this tutorial build, and it's a really good tutorial because it just demonstrates basic scratch building construction. Like, you know, there's no gabled roof, you know, they're just squares, right? But you know, I cover, you know, the basics like building doors, which are really easy to build, and doing a foundation slab, making the model modular so that you can take it apart, like to install lights later or lift it off the layout, and then the stairs, which is covered quite extensively in the brewery build part 4, but I do mention that in the first tutorial. And then as you can see, I picked up a container. I was going to scratch build one of these, but then there were some containers I found at Otter Valley that by Intermountain, and they're really good actually. They're really good. You can see the detail. On it. Like, I thought, well, you know, I don't think I can scratch build something that detailed right now anyway, because it's just would really bog me down, and I want to keep the momentum going on the layout, so that fits the build perfectly. And then of course this building I had to scratch build because it's very important for this overall layout, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you through that in a couple of parts. It might be 3 parts. I'll try to keep it to 2. And right now it's just sort of cleanly painted, like there's been no weathering, but it's not a very complicated building, like you say, and of course there's a lot of details that will end up going into this scene. I'll just back up a bit, like much later on, you know, like barbed wire, and you know, just I haven't fully installed, you know, the turnout plates yet, because that's, I don't want to cover those up yet because I want to put the switch machines in there. And if I put the plates on and can't lift them or have to pop them, then that's a little bit trouble. I even found an excavator shovel. I'll show you a pic of that. And it came with a Scene Masters ditching excavator, which has 2 buckets, so I'm going to put the wide bucket on the model, and I thought I'd use this one, and it's almost identical actually to the one in the prototype photo. I just need to paint it up a bit more, but that was a nice little find when I picked up this trailer here, and I picked up the kit as well. Okay, so let's go into the tutorial, and I'll demonstrate how I go about drafting the size of this, and then the materials, and then just putting it together. It was a lot of fun, okay? Okay, so we're going to build this little yard office. So for the purposes of this build, we'll call this the yard office. This is this little shack or building, you know, the yard being, of course, the barge approach, and track in behind and in front and so on. So there's a container right here, which is about a 40-foot or so, which I just ordered a plain on deck kit from Intermountain. I think they had a bunch at Otter Valley Railroads. I saw them there for 10 bucks or something. So that's, you know, about the same price as a sheet of siding, but all the less work, and it'll work perfectly for back here. And then there's this building here. So how do I get the dimensions for this building? Well, I just made up a paper template right here. I just need the front. I just got to figure out the front of the building, and it's pretty easy to do because these doors are 3 feet wide. There's double doors here and a single door here. They're 7 feet by 36 inches, give or take a few. They might be 34. I doubt they're 32 though, because they're an industrial door. So they're most likely commercial doors are 36 by 7 feet average, give or take. So I just take the dimensions with the HO scale ruler and I cut 1 door, 2 doors. And I can see that this distance right here, in between these 2 doors, like right here, is 2 of these, right? It's 6 feet. And then I can see here, this is about 2 feet. 2 feet, and then 2 feet to the roof. So it's pretty standard building. And it's the same way I build all my buildings. Okay, so we'll just come up on the layout here and I'll just show you where this is going to go, this yard office. So here's a dry run. So it's going to sit in here like this. Okay, but it'll be up on a platform with a porch on the front. So I'll build that separate and then just maybe make them as 2 components or whatever, or we'll see. But I'll have it so that I can just lift it off and take it on, just like all the rest of the models. That way I can lift it off and put lights in it and so on. So you can see by building out of paper templates, you can get an idea when you're scratch building like this. And they're just very simple buildings. All these buildings on this layout, by the way, are fairly simple, right? Like the warehouse. I mean, the brewery was a bit of an elaborate building flat, but you know, it's all covered there. And like this warehouse is going to be really simple. All these are very simple buildings to build, and this will be a full building, but it's just a rectangle box, right? Okay, so I want to talk about the rear of this little yard office here. You can see there's just 4 sides. The doors are on the other side. There's no windows on the ends. There's this one flush sort of modern style window that looks out towards the barge slip, which goes out this way. So that makes sense that whatever's going on in here, control room or whatever, they can see what's going on. So I want to have this window so it's flush against this wall here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build this wall on clear 15 thou styrene or acetate or whatever that will work. Okay, so what I've done is here's the front side, which I haven't built up yet with doors. And I just took that drawing and I just flipped the paper around and then drew a window on it and then taped it to the back side of this clear acetate. That way I can cut a mask now just from this scrap piece. I'm going to cut this out here. And I'm going to lay one on the inside and the outside of this acetate. I'll peel this paper off once I line it up on the outside. Okay, and I'm going to keep that on there. And then I'm going to spray this whole wall white. Then when it's all done, I'll just peel the tape away and I'll have a nice clear window that's flush against the back wall of the yard office, okay? Okay, so there's this back wall done. It's got a mask on the outside and a mask on the inside. And what I did was I just made this mask just a shade, a 30-second smaller, just so that when I spray the back side of this black and then the outside white, when I peel the tape off, it'll look like it'll have a little bit of a black rubber kind of liner around it, because this is thin enough that, you know, it'll look okay. rather than being inset. I think it'll look better than if you just cut a hole and just stuck a piece on the back side of it. Okay, so this is 3 layers of 1/8 balsa wood I laminated up last night, and I just cut this for the foundation block. Actually, this piece goes in front here because, well, initially, I'm going to make a piece with like a 1/4 inch with 2 layers as opposed to 3. This one's actually the platform that sits in front, and it sits up in front of this I-beam here. Because what I did was after I built this, I added number 275 I-beam. Okay, you can see this in I-beam right here. I'll show you in the photo. So here's the building, here's the corner of the building, here's the I-beam right in here. Goes all the way around the foundation. Then here's the concrete slab, which I'll make out of 2 layers of 1/8 balsa. And then this one will be 3, roughly, give or take. So I'm not overly concerned about that. It's probably a little bit less here, but so this will sit like that. Okay, so I just want to talk about these doors for a second. Well, some of the details around them and point out a couple of things. Okay, number one, it's so easy. The easiest subject to build in or in any scale is a door, right? Because, I mean, let's just say, okay, the standard is 3 feet by 7. That's it. This is 10 thou. All I did was put a little bit of trim, like 15 by 20 trim around the door after I planted the 10 thou onto the face of the building. I just planted it on, rectangle, that's all it is, and then I just lined up strip, just like I'm doing this rain lip here. Like the rain lip is a little bit larger. Like I like to use a little bit larger profile than scale sometimes, just so they stand out more, so they pop a little bit. So this is 15 by 30 thou strip, number 111, right? Now see the rain lip on the top here? Notice how, okay, so I'm going to stress this one more time, or over and over again, how you get these strips, like free running strips, straight. Okay, like I'm not going to draw a line here because I already have a line at the top of the door, but what you do is you cut a piece longer than you need, right? And then just tag one end like that, see? So it's already tagged, isn't it? I can pull on it now, right? So now I can basically take a bead of glue, just flood it into the strip, right? Capillary action, this is so thin, this Plastruct cement, it just flows into every little crack that you have, and then you can just pull on it until it's straight. See? And that's it. And then when you're, after about a couple of minutes, you just almost right away, you just take your knife and you just pop it off, and when it dries you can scrape that smooth. It'll just come out beautiful smooth. Okay, if there's any abrasion mark or blemish or anything, and a lot of these blemishes that you might see on here, see there, from the cement, those all disappear when you paint it. Okay. Okay, so moving right along then. So I'm building up this platform first out of balsa wood. Okay, I'll square it up later, but I'm just, doing a couple of dry runs here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sheet the top of this balsa block with 20 thou. And that brings up this platform nice and scale to the bottom of the doors here. That way it'll give me compatible material with the railings, the styrene railings to glue to. I'll probably drill too, but if I don't have to, I can still glue styrene to styrene. I like to do that rather than just use CA here and solvent there. I mean, you can if you want, but or you can actually build this up out of basswood or plastic if you want, but I don't like to use thick plastic material there, but it's okay too. And so I'm going to establish, before I glue that on there, I'm going to establish, like, there's a set of stairs here. Remember a little ways back on the brewery build, and I showed how to build these stairs, how easy they are to build. And remember how I talked about making extras, right? You know what I mean? Like, you don't just make what you need, you make extra, double if you can. Then you put it in your scrap box. And so I was going through my scrap box, and lo and behold, this staircase is exactly the height that I need. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. Now I'm going to cut these. I'm going to cut this platform. I'm going to cut this plastic out first, which is another reason why I want to skin the top of this, because it cleans up this reveal here when you cut it, whereas balsa doesn't always leave a clean edge, which is, advantageous if you're doing maybe brick or concrete work. But so then I'm going to cut that in, and then I'll just shave out the balsa underneath for that to set that in, because it comes out a little ways like that. Okay.